In 1587, more than 100 English men, women, and children built a new life on a small island off the coast of America. 3 years later, every single one of them had vanished. No bodies. No sign of a fight. Nothing, except a single word carved into a wooden post. This is the mystery of the lost colony of Roanoke. For over 400 years, historians have tried to explain what happened here. Where did an entire community go, without a trace, without a struggle, without ever being seen again? Nobody knows for certain. But the clues they left behind only make the mystery deeper. It began as a gamble. England wanted a foothold in the New World, and in 1587 a group of over 100 settlers crossed the Atlantic to build the first permanent English colony in the Americas. They landed on Roanoke Island, in what is now North Carolina. Among them were entire families, not just soldiers, but ordinary people hoping for a fresh start. Their leader was a man named John White, an artist and governor who had brought his own daughter and her husband with him. And on this island, something remarkable happened. White's daughter gave birth to a baby girl named Virginia Dare, the first English child ever born in the New World. For a brief moment, the future looked bright. But the colony was already in trouble. Supplies were running low, relations with some of the local tribes had turned tense, and winter was coming. The settlers needed help. So they made a fateful decision. They asked Governor White to sail back to England for supplies. White didn't want to leave his family behind. But he was the only one with the standing to secure more ships and food back home. So he agreed, promising to return as fast as he could. He said goodbye to his daughter, to his newborn granddaughter, and to the colony he had helped build. Then he boarded a ship and sailed east, expecting to be gone only a few months. He had no idea he would never see any of them again. Because the moment White reached England, history got in the way. War had erupted between England and Spain. Every available ship, including the ones White needed, was seized for the fight against the Spanish Armada. He begged, he pleaded, he tried everything to get back to Roanoke. But the crossing was blocked. Months turned into years. And the whole time, White could only imagine what was happening to his family on that distant island. Finally, 3 long years later, in 1590, he made it back. The date he arrived was, by chance, his granddaughter Virginia's 3rd birthday. You can imagine what was going through his mind as his ship approached the island, the hope, the fear, the guilt of having been away so long. He came ashore expecting to find the colony he had left. Instead, he found silence. The settlement was deserted. The houses had been taken down. The people, all of them, more than 100 men, women, and children, including his own daughter and granddaughter, were simply gone. There were no bodies. No graves. No signs of a battle or a massacre. It was as if the entire colony had quietly stood up and walked into the trees. And in a place where over 100 people had lived, the only thing waiting for John White was a single word. Carved into a wooden post at the edge of the settlement was one word, CROATOAN. And on a nearby tree, 3 letters, C-R-O. To White, this was not a random message. Before he had left, the colonists had agreed on a plan. If they ever had to leave the island, they would carve their destination into a tree or post. And crucially, if they left in danger or under attack, they would add a cross. White searched everywhere. There was no cross. Whatever had happened, it seemed, had not been violent. CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, today called Hatteras, and the name of a friendly local tribe who lived there. The message seemed almost hopeful. Perhaps the colonists, running low on food, had gone to live with the CROATOAN people who could help them survive. For White, it was a lifeline. His family might still be alive, just a short voyage away. But the mystery wasn't done tormenting him. Before White could sail to CROATOAN Island to search, a violent storm slammed into the coast. His ships were battered, supplies were lost, and his crew refused to risk their lives any further. Heartbroken and powerless, John White was forced to turn around and sail back to England, leaving his family behind for the second time. He never returned to the New World. He died years later without ever learning what happened to the people he loved. And the colonists of Roanoke were never seen again. So what really happened to them? Over the centuries, theories have piled up. The most hopeful, and the one supported by that carved word, is that the colonists integrated with the CROATOAN tribe, abandoning the failing settlement to survive among people who knew the land. For generations afterward, explorers reported encountering Native Americans with gray eyes, or who claimed English ancestors, hinting the colonists may have simply become part of another community. Others believe something darker. That disease, starvation, or conflict wiped them out. That they tried to sail back to England on their own and were lost at sea. Or that they split up, and each group met a different fate. Modern archaeologists have dug across the region for decades, finding scattered artifacts that hint at survivors, but never enough to prove, once and for all, where they went. And that is the haunting truth of Roanoke. It is not a story with a monster or a villain. It is a story of ordinary people who simply disappeared into history, leaving behind one word and a question that has never been answered. More than 4 centuries later, we still don't know what happened on that island. Whether they found safety, or met a quiet end, the colonists of Roanoke took their secret with them, and left the rest of us staring at a single word, carved in wood, wondering. If mysteries like this fascinate you, subscribe to Strange Unknown. Every week we step into another story history still can't explain. And if you want to see a place where humans are still forbidden to set foot today, an island that violently rejects every outsider who comes near, that story is right here. Watch it next.